but today is focusing on special products, so still multiplying. You still want to be able to multiply polynomials. That's the kind of been the goal the past few days, is multiplying polynomials, but these ones are special products. So I'll explain as we go through each type kind of what's special about them, and part of it is the way they're written. So this says finding the square of a binomial. So notice for all of these on the front, for all four, you have a binomial. So in the parentheses, you have two terms, and then you have the squared on the outside. You are not allowed with these. This is a very common mistake just in math in general. So many students want to do this. You cannot distribute the exponent. You cannot do that because of the plus sign. So there are times when you are allowed to distribute an exponent. We have done that before, but when you have a plus or minus, when you have a binomial, you are not allowed to do that. I just want to ask you really quick, if you had, say you just had 3 squared, I know the answer is 9, but why? When you do 3 squared, what are you doing, Andrew? 3 times 3. Okay, so it means whatever number is your base, it's the base multiplied by itself. Here your base is a binomial. So this really means n plus 3 times itself, n plus 3. So for these, you need to rewrite them like this and then multiply, which you've multiplied expressions like this before. What process would you use to multiply these? Or how do we multiply 2 binomials together? Jennifer? Well, before we combine like terms, because we can't combine like terms yet, because these are being multiplied. Nadia? Can you say the letters? F-O-I-L. Foil? Foil. What does FOIL stand for? What does F stand for? First. Yes, you use FOIL. Now, I did show yesterday also, we were not multiplying binomials together yesterday, but I did show that box method, which I saw some of you used when you did your assignment. You can do the box method with these as well. I didn't show that on the same day we did FOIL, but you are allowed to use that. And I'll show it again if that made more sense to you yesterday. So FOIL, first, outside, inside, last. So here's my first. N times n is my first. What is n times n? N to the second, n squared. Then outside is n times positive 3. That would be what? Yep, 3n, so plus 3n. Then the inside is 3 times n, which is going to be plus 3n again. And then the last terms, 3 times 3 is the plus 9. And then just keep this in mind always. After you multiply, always check for like terms. Are there like terms? Which terms are like terms? 3n and 3n. So I have n squared plus, if I add these together, that's 6n, and then plus 9. Okay, so you're just rewriting it into 2 binomials multiplied together, and you've done that already. So the only new part is how it's written originally. I do want to show you though, maybe I'll actually show it for example too. I'll show the box method because I didn't show that for just FOIL, but like I said, some of you used it yesterday. So x minus 4 quantity squared. My first step is to rewrite it. This is x minus 4 multiplied by itself. Okay, and I'll show, you can, if this method works for you, you can go ahead and use it and just check your final answer, but I'll show the box method for those of you that liked that yesterday, and maybe you'll like it for this. So you're going to have the binomial on the top and on the side. So on the top, I would have x and minus 4, and on the side, I would have x and minus 4. And so I get the 2 columns and 2 rows from my 2 terms for each one. And then remember, in each box, you're multiplying. It's kind of like you're finding the area of the box. You're multiplying the term on the top and on the side. So in this box, I multiply x times x, which is what? X to the second, so not 2x, but x squared. In this box, you multiply the negative 4 with x. What would that be? Negative 4x. Okay, then down in the second row, in this box, I multiplied the x with the negative 4. And then in the last box, it's negative 4 times negative 4. Close, positive 16. Okay, and then remember with the box method, your like terms end up on your diagonal, or should end up on your diagonal. Those are the terms you can combine. So my final answer, I have x squared. I combine negative 4x and negative 4x. They don't cancel. Negative 4 and negative 4 is negative 8x. And then I have plus 16. Jennifer, would you mind just closing the door? Thank you. Questions there? Okay, yeah, and if the box, some of you might find the box helpful, some of you might find it more confusing. If it's more confusing, don't do it. If it's more helpful, then do it that way. Okay, let's just go through one more together. 3 is 3x minus 5 quantity squared. So rewrite it first. 3x minus 5 times 3x minus 5. Always have to rewrite it first. I'll show FOIL again for this one. So start out, multiply. What is 3x times 3x? 9x squared. 3x times negative 5. Three times negative 5. Yep, negative 15x. And then that's my first and my outside. My inside is negative 5 times 3x. Negative 15x again. And then negative 5 and negative 5 is plus 25. Your like terms are the middle terms. So I have 9x squared. What's negative 15 plus negative 15? So negative 30x plus 25. So notice, and this is again today's special products. So you're multiplying polynomials, but kind of thinking about what makes them special. What the answer you're getting, this is called, and we'll talk about these later. You don't have to know this right now, like for your test. These are called perfect square trinomials because you were taking a binomial and squaring it to get this as your answer. So it's kind of like the same reason 9 is a perfect square because 3 squared is 9. So that's saying n squared plus 6n plus 9 is a perfect square trinomial because it is n plus 3 squared. So it's kind of that same relationship, but that's why it's called a special product. Also know with all of these, your two middle terms should always end up to be the exact same thing. And they don't cancel out. They're the exact same thing. And yeah, the main thing is they don't cancel out. But if you are doing this type of problem and these aren't the exact same, something went wrong when you multiplied. Okay, so if you haven't already, some of you might have worked ahead, multiply number 4 quickly. So you can do either method, FOIL or box method, whichever one makes more sense to you. But get an answer for number 4 and then we'll check it. Not 25 squared. The 25 is okay. No, it's 25. Did you ask me a question? X is squared though, not the 25. Just check. Like that, just adding them together.
With some four, there would be four ends.
And we're kind of thinking about the form.
Yeah, get them. Add these together.
You were handling I wasn't ready to start.
You did the first three examples.
It was like,
Just do it like this.
Stop.
Okay. Here, just double check. If you had an answer, I checked it, I might have let you know if something was wrong. 25x squared plus 70x plus 49. All right, so we're going to move on to the other special product on the back. This is the product of a sum and a difference. So notice what's special about these products is your terms, they almost look the exact same, but one of them is plus and one of them is minus. That's the only difference between the two binomials, is one is a sum, one is a difference. Okay, and then you'll see what happens when you multiply them. You still multiply these either by doing FOIL or the box method. Okay, whichever one works better for you, but you are still using FOIL. Okay, so if I use FOIL for number 5, what is x times x? X squared. And then, guys, okay, Brian, x times negative 5 is what? X times negative 5. Negative 5x. You guys following along? Writing this down, Gabe? 5 times x is positive 5x. And then 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. You still have your like terms in the middle. What do I get if I add negative 5x and positive 5x? 0. So these together, you get 0x. What that means is they cancel each other out. You don't have to write the 0x there. So my final answer is just the x squared and the minus 25. Okay, so for these special products, when you have a sum and a difference, your middle terms should cancel each other out. But it's only if the first terms, like notice the first terms are both x, and then we have both 5, it's just one's plus, one's minus. So obviously if these were different numbers, like if this was positive 5 and negative 2, that's different. It's still a sum and a difference, but it's not that special product. They're not both 5. So let's just look at 6 quickly. 3n plus 2, 3n minus 2. Still using FOIL. What's 3n times 3n? 3n times a negative 2. Then positive 2 times 3n. And positive 2 times negative 2. Negative 4. I have negative 6n and positive 6n. And those cancel each other out. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0, so they're gone. So just make sure you don't keep the n there. It would be 0n, which is just 0. So if you just put n, that's 1n. That's different. So I have 9n squared and then minus 4. So notice your answer 2 only has how many terms? I heard a 2. 2 terms. It's a binomial, so it only has 2 terms. So go ahead, I'll come around and I want you to do number 7. I'll check number 7, and then I'll also pass out the assignment, so you have the last 10 minutes here to start working on that. And just like the other assignments, there's 4 questions on the back that are some review from previous days. But again, Monday and Tuesday next week, we are just kind of going through and reviewing everything in practice. There you go. So we have 4x and 4x, so x and Dave's passing out the assignment. I'm checking number 7. As long as you recognize that it is I just don't want you to get in the habit of doing that. I would just be in the habit of doing spoil because then you can be like, oh, but otherwise, if you get in the habit of doing that, okay. I'm gonna enter. I'll enter the stops. I'm just waiting for the stops. Dave is passing. I'm gonna keep going. Oh, Dave. You can forget. Or I don't.
Yeah, what an idiot.
I'm retarded, okay? I'm just retarded. I'm retarded.
Sorry, I'm bad.
So I was trying to
Okay, did everybody get a homework sheet?